Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K Now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Nick.
Top of the morning to you.
Good morning. And Gal is here.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software, by DudeInIT.com, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. And like Gal already said this morning, he's not going to turn green. Tell us about it.
Unless you want me to.
No. I know you all...
Yeah, we figured out the problem. A bug in the way Zoom uses hardware acceleration for sending video. There's a checkbox in the Zoom client. Once you switch it on, after a few minutes, it turns green for some reason, something in the video processing. And apparently a few other souls out there in the internet have already experienced it. And some digging in helped resolve that issue. Once I switched that off, no more green. So
it's a good feeling to found the problem. Yeah.
I mean, kudos to Zoom, right? At least they allow us to switch it on or off.
Yeah.
Sometimes the software doesn't allow you and you're stuck with it until they fix it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Nick, what's going on with you?
Not a whole lot. Nothing crazy in particular.
No news is good news.
Yeah.
Oh, so they...
What about you? What about you? What are you up to?
Nothing. This week was the...
This week was the week of Signal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Nick, so you didn't even realize that there was a problem there, did you?
I didn't. I never had a notification that there was a problem. No.
Yeah, that was weird because the notification is still there, even though I got a message back from Signal saying we're sorry about this. Because I told him, I said I can't sync, and he said, "Yeah, we did have a problem, but at this point it should be fixed, and you can use it." And if you still see that there, no, if you still don't have the contacts on the web app, it will get there eventually. So don't worry about it. And
so the notification on my end disappeared. So last night, they were still there on the phone.
Right.
I think that was an Android thing because I never saw it on iOS.
It could be.
Yeah.
And it was also on the desktop application for a while. But this morning it doesn't show up neither. It seems like they've solved it.
I don't know. Mine this morning was still there as of about half an hour ago. It was still there. So they're right. It's fine. And we found out last night that there is absolutely no way to sync and get the contacts back on the web app. I mean, you can do it. You know how many times I reinstall and stuff. But the minute I get an email, I get a message, everything works. Because Nick was just saying, "Well, let's try it," and he just sent hi. Bam! He
I
popped
don't
up.
think. Yeah, I don't think the desktop app even tries to synchronize.
Oh,
Mine
there's
does.
yeah. No, if you
No,
go,
no,
if
hold
you
on. If you uninstall your desktop app now,
Yeah.
right, and you reinstall it, you get a tabula rasa, you get a blank slate.
well,
Oh,
if
wow.
you but wait a second, if you click on preferences and scroll down, it has import contacts.
Yeah. Contacts,
Yeah, that's
not
what I'm
your
talking
previous chats. And what you see in your side, you see past chats, right?
I don't
You
see
see past
anything
conversation.
on the phone.
That doesn't matter. You do see your conversation with Nick on your desktop application, right?
No, all I see is his new message.
Yeah,
That's
but
all.
you see a conversation, an active conversation.
Yes.
So if something has happened and something needs to be reset, so the whole thing about Signal, there is no history anywhere.
The history is
Okay.
between the two parties. That's where the history is.
Yeah.
For the good and the bad, there is no history anywhere.
And I was not looking for history. I was looking just for contacts.
You are looking for things that show up in your phone,
contacts.
right? But don't show up in your desktop
Right.
application.
Yeah.
Right. So the moment you launch your desktop application for the first time, I'm
Right.
talking first time right
Yeah.
now. Okay. You do not get past content of your calls on the desktop application.
So contacts are part of the content.
Contacts is contacts. You can now create a new conversation, right, with a contact from your contact list that has been imported, but it doesn't show on the list. It's not like something you can see.
Okay, well,
right? Because you don't have an active conversation that happened on the desktop.
So now try and explain, why is there a need for import contacts? If you have to wait until something happens and then the contacts shows up, when do you think?
No, again, the contacts, once you sync with, let's go back and explain how this works. Okay, you have your phone that is the only storage right now.
Right.
When you start using Signal,
right,
the only storage of whatever goes on with you is here on the phone. There is actually an additional feature which is switch on by default right now, where your contact list is synced. It's basically backed up to their server in a very convoluted, encrypted method. There is some critique about the way it does it, but basically the only piece of storage anywhere in the world other than your phone is the contact list being encrypted on their side. You are the only one who can access that contact list because all of the keys are
in your phone,
are generated by your phone. Okay, so once you are hooked up, the next step is starting conversations, right? So any conversation you have is stored on the phone only, and then there's the additional option of running the desktop application. You link the desktop application with your phone via a QR code that you just snap with the application, and then they negotiate. And basically, your phone is a conduit to these messages. By the way, I'm not sure. And I with WhatsApp, the phone itself must be connected to the network.
The same thing.
For
the same
desktop
thing.
application. I think this is the same.
Yeah.
So now what we're talking about. So with WhatsApp, the difference is there is a snapshot of everything that happens on the phone on the server. Okay, there's this backup of the chats are basically stored on the server, and you have access. But that means that WhatsApp and you have access to the content of the chats. Now, when it comes to point-to-point chats, to just one person, then theoretically, WhatsApp as a service do not have access to the content. But when it comes to a group chat, it's all there. Okay. Now comes Signal. The difference is completely different. On Signal's server, there is no history.
Mm-hmm.
The only piece of information about each endpoint, about each phone, is the phone number and the date it was added to the server,
Okay.
to the service. And one more thing, the last time it was logged in. Nothing else. Only
Okay.
these three pieces of information. When it joined and when it was last seen. And by the way, other users don't see the last scene, but those are the only pieces of information. They've had the subpoena in the past that they published, and that's the only thing they could give because that's the only thing they have. So when you hook up the desktop application, right, there isn't anything for it to sync, and the desktop and by design, the client on the phone does not send its history anywhere, right? Not even to the desktop application. So when you start a desktop application, it starts blank. You don't see your conversation. You don't see history.
Okay.
You will only see new activity. The contact list is there, so you can start a conversation with somebody from your contact list.
That's exactly on you're talking about the app.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly the problem that I was having. It was a clean, like I never had any contacts, nothing. No matter what I did, on the left side, it was empty. It
will always be empty. The left side is not contacts. The left side is active conversations.
Well, there was no way for me to get, I mean, in order to send you an email, like when I had to reinstall, I had to type in, I mean, when you search, that's another thing. You don't search for names or anything, you search for phone numbers. I had to type in manually the phone number of contacts, which I had on the phone.
I see what you're describing.
I had it on the phone.
So the phone numbers were not attached to a name.
There was nothing there. I had to use the phone number, send it, and then it shows that I sent a message to 919, whatever. But the minute I got an email, then their name and their picture popped up.
Okay, so there seemed to be some sort of synchronization issue with the contact list now that you explain it,
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. What is the import contacts for? If that's if you have to get activity.
But hold on a second.
Yeah.
I sent you a message yesterday.
Right.
And it showed right up.
Absolutely.
With my name. Then what's the issue?
No, the issue is that until then, unless I knew that I can send you a message by putting in your phone number, I couldn't send you a message. There was nothing there to click on to say, I want to send a message to Nick. There was no Nick. There was nothing. It was empty.
But on the phone, everything was working.
On the phone, everything was there. Yeah, I'm talking about the web app.
It's going to be empty until you have a conversation.
Okay. So
no, but he's talking about he doesn't have he wants to start a discussion with me over the desktop app. It doesn't show up that he has Gal Shkolnik in his contact.
Right. I don't even know how you start a conversation on the desktop app. I don't even have an option to.
That's what I'm trying now. This computer that I'm on, I don't have it, so I'm just installing.
I don't see an option to even start a new conversation on the desktop.
I hardly do it. I hardly ever done it on the phone. I do it all on the web app.
Yeah, I don't see how I would start a new conversation.
If you did you take a QR code snap?
I'm doing it now, so let's see.
Nick.
Yeah, yes, I've got the app fully synced.
Yeah, so you should have, because the first time I did it.
Oh, I do. I've got I don't have any issues. I'm not sure. I don't.
Oh, wait. So you do have everybody showing.
Yes.
Okay.
But I've also had the app installed for like 6 months.
Yeah.
So
you see,
all of my conversations are there.
Okay. So that's how you start a conversation. You just click on somebody. Just like you send me.
Correct.
No, there might be. Yeah. You
That's what I'm
might need to
saying.
start the conversation for the first time
Oh.
on the phone.
Okay.
That's what
Yes.
Nick is saying.
Yes.
On the
I'm checking it. I'll know in a moment.
yeah, on the phone, if you don't have the contacts showing, then you have to type the phone number of that person. And thank God on the phone, they show you the name and the phone number. So I went and
Correct.
typed,
And then when you send a message, it'll pop
Yeah.
up on the
Right.
PC showing
Correct.
the same thing.
That's because the model is different from
Okay.
the phone
Now,
from the desktop application.
So we decided that it takes until you
Yeah, but there's still a key thing that you're missing.
Yeah.
The left side pane is not a contact list. It is an active communication list.
Okay. So first of all,
Okay.
Amnon is right. I just finished the first link, and on the left side, I have the list of groups of active communication that I have on my phone.
right.
So when I launch up the application on my phone, yeah. So when I launch up the application on my phone and I look at the desktop app, the list looks the same. But when I click on the chats, it says, for your security, conversation history isn't transferred to a new linked device.
Yeah, I see. I've
So
never
you're
seen
saying that the left side,
I
you got
don't-
nothing
No.
on only whatever happened after the
They-
application has been reinstalled.
Correct.
Right?
So
Okay.
my question, that's not. I mean, that's not a problem. My
I'm
question
not
is
saying it's a problem. Yeah.
no.
I
My
understand.
question is now, if you go to preferences, you can import contacts. When would you use that? I wonder. For
Import
what
all
purpose?
signal groups and contacts from your mobile device.
And-
That's
and-
supposed to create that list for you. I agree.
And I tell you what it told me every time. It says
Mhm.
import failed. Make sure your phone and application and your PC are connected to the internet. It may be their
Okay, so
problem at this point. It may be their
So-
problem.
So what about this? What about unlinking and then linking again
I did.
with the
Yeah,
okay, and
I
that didn't
did.
work. So I'm guessing the app didn't work for me inside my work laptop, which is hooked up to the company VPN.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason it didn't work is because it has a convoluted schema of firewall ports that needs
Yeah.
to be opened.
I closed the firewall for a minute there. I said, okay, let's see. So I closed I disabled the firewall completely on my computer.
You opened the firewall. You
I opened it.
all of the
Nothing
ports.
happened, so I closed it again.
Interesting.
Yeah, I spent a few hours on it.
Well,
trying-
it could be that it is part of whatever they were experiencing, but now it's supposed to be okay. So the real question is, what will happen if you try it today?
I tried it this morning, but I already have everybody. I think.
Yeah, you don't have a long history. I understand
Right.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can
Okay.
reinstall again and see.
Yeah, but why though? Sounds like you've got all the conversations you need.
The
Yeah.
conversation, I really don't care. I need the people. I need Nick there. I need.
But
Yeah.
it sounds like
guys.
you have us.
Yeah, I do.
Problem solved.
It was really, really, really strange.
I agree. It sounds annoying as hell.
And yesterday, even though I had the error and everything, Nick sent a message. It worked. It sure did work. It was working for communications. It took me some time to realize, in order to start the conversation, I need to put the phone number up there. Because I tried to put Nick, Gal, because I went to the phone and I saw, okay, Gal is Gal. Nick is Nick. So I tried that. And no, there's no such. And I tried to import again. And then I said, let's try the phone number. And I put, oh, yeah, bam, it came up.
That's interesting.
So, it is. And I mean, I know we're going through growing pains and all that, especially now, and with all the people are trying to go to Signal and to Telegram, and it's a problem, but it's okay. It's okay.
Well,
It's fine.
let's give a little update as to where we stand and compared to last week.
Sure.
So Parler is still down.
Yeah.
As of this morning, though, they're returning a 404 page.
Oh,
So that might be a good indication of something to come. They were shut down a week ago tonight, right? I think it was midnight last Sunday.
Yeah.
Their services were shut down by Amazon due to what Amazon calls a breach of contract, which at the end of the day, Amazon decides the terms of the contract, they could cancel them anyway.
Right.
It's like firing an employee. You don't have to fire them for the reason you want to fire them. You just have to put a reason down there. It's kind of the same thing. So they've been down for the past week. Twitter has continued their wreaking their havoc across social media.
but you saw what Dorsey said in an interview.
Yes, I did.
That he thinks it was a mistake to.
Well, then he shouldn't have capitulated to the
well,
mob, but that's another story.
yeah.
That's a story for Against the Norm. So Facebook and Twitter have continued their tear down this past week. Gab, fortunately, over the past couple days, I don't know if you posted on Gab or not this morning, Amnon.
I am just doing it now. I forgot.
Gab is very stable, has been very stable the past 2 or 3 days. I shouldn't say very stable, has been significantly more stable than it's been in the past. I've been able to check my notifications, freely browse the website, look at people's posts. And for the most part, it's pretty stable. It still hangs up from time to time.
Yeah, like now.
But they found a what was it? I read it to Amnon yesterday. They found a bug that was causing
what was it? High performance bug. Yeah.
High performance bug. So
Right.
they found a bug that was causing servers or databases to be sitting at a very high performance rate that they have mitigated, and it appears that has helped dramatically. I mean, I'm browsing the site right now and it's going right through everything. It's great. So as of now,
Oh, he finally posted. Yeah.
as of now, we're kind of in the same boat. I did see that Tim Cook said yesterday that he would allow Parler back on the App Store if they moderated their site. I don't know. The fallout for this, I think, is going to be dramatic. I have not used Twitter or Facebook since. I've used Facebook a little bit, but not for personal stuff, but for page moderation.
Mhm.
And that's fine. I have not used Twitter. I didn't deactivate my account, but I'm not tweeting. I'm not checking it.
All right. Same here.
That's the way you got to do it, unfortunately.
Yep.
So that's where we stand.
Yeah, Hannah was here yesterday, and she was saying, "I'm glad you didn't offer to. I hope you didn't offer to host Parlor, did you?" I said I would do it in a heartbeat if I could. What? I said, "Yeah."
Why? Why would she say that?
Oh, but that's her. That's the
I mean-
academics.
Yeah, I mean, you act like they're a bunch. I mean, it's just so funny to look at, without getting too crazy political. If you look back 4 years ago, Kathy Griffin held a bloody head of Donald Trump on
correct.
social media, and that
Right.
was not taken down, was not censored, was not banned.
Right.
I don't care if you like or hate Trump or like or hate Kathy Griffin. That picture itself, holding the bloody head of a sitting president, take that for what it's worth. That stayed up and is still up to today.
It served the narrative.
Well, I understand, but then you look at today and it's like you post something about Trump in the election and you're banned from social media. It's just the contrast is quite amazing. So I mean, hey, bring it on. I'm all in. We don't need us as humans don't need this
Not this type of social media. No.
I mean, this stuff is just not. Stuff is not helpful. It's not.
And did you see all the countries that came out against what they did?
Well, because other world leaders are starting to realize, oh shit, these websites have an incredible amount of power. You got to remember, outside of the United States, Europe and Australia There is not mass media.
Right.
I'll say that again. Outside of the United States, Europe, and Australia, our style of mass media is not necessarily the same everywhere else in the world. So social media and networking are a whole hell of a lot more important in some of these other countries than they are. I know countries have media, but it's a lot of countries have state-run media. There's not this mass media complex like you've got in the US and Europe. So social media is a huge play and a point for people to communicate. And then when you're starting to see, and then when these other countries see Facebook is just determining that, 70 million people don't deserve to be on their platform. It's a wake up call. I'm trying to think. Was it? I saw a couple countries this week,
Germany, Spain.
which is interesting for Germany because Merkel is a
Yeah.
psychopath. But yeah, you're starting to see that. Like, holy crap! If they can do this to Orange Man, they can do it to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're in what was it? In Africa, Uganda, or where is that part? Yeah, Uganda. Last week, order internet service providers to block all social media platforms and messaging apps on Tuesday until further notice. A letter from the country's communications regulator, seen by Reuters, said users had
And
huh?
and you're taking Uganda as an
No,
example for what?
it's not the point. But listen to that. Users
It's
had
always the point.
listen why. Users had complained early on Tuesday that they were unable to access Facebook and WhatsApp, and social media platforms being widely used for campaigning ahead of Thursday's presidential election in the East African country. Uganda Communications Commission hereby directs you to immediately suspend any access and use, direct or otherwise, of all social media platforms and online messaging applications over your network until further notice. I mean, they did it because they probably saw what it did here, and they decided, okay, let's eliminate that problem from what's going to happen with it, whether or not they are right or wrong. It's they looked at this and said, you know, it. Time will tell if it was the right decision, but the fact that they say, hey, cut it off, and they didn't say cut off the phone lines, it's, hey, it's something that has to do with social media. They don't think that it is legitimate. They don't think it serves a purpose. It only creates problems. So,
Well, they're in the middle of an election in Uganda, and that, to me, that seemed to be the main reason. And again, I don't follow Uganda politics.
I don't either.
I don't have a
So
damn
I don't
clue
know
what's going on in the country.
Right.
But it is rather interesting.
Do you follow it, Gal? Do you know anything about
No.
No, I was wondering.
But I mean, when you've got members of the EU, which has got the craziest tech regulations across that whole thing, when you've got member states of the EU coming out and kind of disavowing what Facebook and Twitter is doing, that's a very bad look.
Yeah, but you need to remember that the backlash of the EU, right? I'm talking about the government side, is usually because of lack of control of these systems, right? They want, I don't know, they want a backdoor, they want a blah blah something, right? So whatever the backlash from the EU about social media comes from, it comes from a misguided place. The backlash in the US comes from a different place completely, which is in terms very similar to the EU in terms of government wants more control but can't have it, right? And the other side is they are acting as these self-appointed moderators of speech, and that sucks. And I don't condone anything they do, but what I find really, really troubling is that the uproar is usually about some legitimate step that they took, which it's just against what a lot of people are feeling, but it is against, some specific acts of um, incitement, of propagating falsities and stuff like that. And that's I think is part of the conversation that is always like hushed, and that's why we are not addressing the real issue, but we're addressing the medium instead of the issue that is discussed on the medium.
Yeah.
I It sometimes feels to me it's like television, especially radio, is talking about don't take away our old way of doing things, right? But let's tear down everything completely. I don't know. There's some convoluted discussion about it. Anyway, it's an unhealthy
Well, I
time
just
right now.
well, it is, and I think what frustrates a lot of people, myself included, is you've got some of the most despicable, um, disgusting, illegal things on the internet. Great example: child pornography, rampant on the internet, presumably, right? I mean, there's
I
constantly
don't think it's ramping on the internet.
well, in communities it's rampant. It's not your correct. If you do a Google search for
Yeah.
it, I'm not sure you'll get a result, but it exists all over the internet. There are sick people. There's constantly busts of FBI or whoever does that stuff, Department of Homeland Security is constantly busting rings of these things. That stuff still is existing on the internet. If companies and the government put this as much time into this nonsense they're putting their time into now into literal illegal acts on the internet, I think we'd be in a much better place than
But
where
I
we are
think they
right now.
do.
Are you sure? I mean, I don't think they do.
Why? Because you're not listening in. You don't hear about it every Monday or Thursday. That's because it is of zero interest to the majority of the population. It's a bad thing that is being handled, right?
But is it
And
being handled? I don't know
I
that to
mean,
be the
it
case.
can probably be handled a lot better. But then again, we also, there are a lot of things, a lot of focus by these entities, these law preserving entities that is being taken care of. This is part of, and I do think that today it is being handled a lot better with cooperation with these. Let's put it this way: I think it's unanimous, right? Whether it doesn't matter the politics of any of these. Uh, Big companies, whether law enforcement should be helped when it comes to sex trafficking, right? It's like there is zero. Nobody's is claiming that this is some sort of breach of etiquette or breach of a conscience. So
No.
you don't hear about it because it's not media worthy. There's no clash, there is no friction about it. And so that's why you'll only hear about it if you, I don't know, listen to a podcast that, dive into it and you're interested in the story. That's what I mean. I don't think it's being pushed to the side. I don't think it's being ignored. It's just not interesting as news, as something that needs to be reported on a constant way. Politics, right? Politics is always going to be news because there's always going to be some sort of point on the table that people will not agree on.
I'll make.
And
I mean, I'll make this point end with this. Not until Visa and MasterCard threatened the website Pornhub did they remove illegal content from their website. Not until their credit card processors canceled their accounts did they do anything about underage illegal content on their website. So, and you talk about complete self-moderation, a incredibly well-known website. Nothing was done until their credit card processor until their credit card processor canceled their thing. And that is a verifiable fact because they deleted like 800,000 videos from their website. So not until the bank got hurt did all of a sudden we care about what people saw. We didn't care about what illegal acts were taking place until it hurt us in the piggy bank. And that's the point that frustrates me is you've got Tim Cook saying, oh, well, we'll let Parler back on if they can self-moderate themselves. You had child trafficking, videos of child trafficking on Pornhub for years. And that stuff didn't matter until Visa and MasterCard said, hey, we're canceling your account. To me, those are criminal acts. We're not talking about criminal acts on Parler. Now, of course, there are criminal acts there's always people threatening to kill or assault or do something on every website, on every forum, on Discord, everywhere. But the majority of traffic on Parler is not people committing felonies or misdemeanors. It's just not. It wasn't. It was people pissed off about politics. And that's to me that frustrating point is the internet is rampant with illegal things going on, rampant. And on big sites, not just backwoods, corner dark websites, rampant on mainstream websites. And nobody does jack shit about it. And then they're out here crucifying conservatives. It's just ridiculous. It's so blatantly obvious. And it's very frustrating because if they would spend that much time dealing with actual illegal things on their website, I think the world would be a better place because you'd get these scumbags hopefully in prison.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, look, even go back, 15 years? Look at the Chris Hansen How to Catch a Predator thing. You're telling me that stuff still doesn't exist?
Let me ask you this, okay? I hear what you're saying, right? And it sounds like you're expecting me to applaud free speech, right? While the examples you're bringing in is what? Is Pornhub? What do I care about? The discussion right now is either Parler or Facebook, or are we talking about Pornhub, right?
No, we're talking about illegal. We're talking about banning things from the internet. That's what this is. It's not about Parler or
banning things from the internet is always going to be a thing. Is it as big as a thing as you're saying it because you feel like you've been shut down?
There's no feel. No. See, you're missing a key point. There's no I feel. There's no feel. This is not a feel. I feel persecuted. No, this is literal persecution. There's no I feel here.
No, it's not persecution. It's closing accounts. Let's be clear here.
No, it's absolutely not. Nobody's
banning livelihood of anyone.
Bullshit.
Right?
That's absolutely not true. They are shutting down accounts for people. For example, they shut down a veteran-owned charity's Twitter account this past week. That is persecution. They raise money and help veterans that are suicidal. You're telling me that's not persecution?
And you want to tell me that shutting down Twitter, right, is going to affect the livelihood of that organization?
Yes.
That organization did not exist before Twitter?
I don't know.
That's the thing. You're taking an example. You're taking an example. You're using it as a whip, right?
Correct.
But
that's
you're
all
never
you do.
looking
That's
at the
every
content.
argument you ever have. You use it as a whip. That's argument.
No, but you never look at the content. You never every
that's not
single
true.
incident, right? Every single incident. And I'm not saying Twitter is going to be clean on all of them. That's for sure not the case. All I'm saying is every single incident, right, has enough saying for why this should happen and why this shouldn't happen. And you need always to look at the bigger picture about every single incident. And this discussion is always, I don't know, every time I hear the most heated discussions, right, they're exactly about the wrong issue in whatever happens, right? I mean, shutting down the accounts right now of right wing because of what happened in the Capitol, right? And looking for the people responsible for what happened there. It's like all of this discussion of this is breach of privacy and all of that. That is the important talk right now, right after what happened, or let's talk about how we got there. That is the most important part, right?
No, I disagree. I don't think that's the most important part at all.
And let me say this. I would say no. We have to find out and correct that shutdown and that deplatforming, and then figure out, okay, how did we get there? Let's fix it. But you don't just, and let me tell you something. I had an article last week and I never got to it, but it was a research that was done over a few years. And they found out that all these ads and reads and stuff that people are paying money for, as in the ad supported, they did not work and they do not work. And business people, that's who does stuff like this a lot. Business people were saying, no, I mean, it's better, we get better response if we post on social media than we do with those ads. And now that the research found out that they did not lose anything from stopping, a lot of companies stop. There's no such thing. No, don't give me that. I'm not paying for ad supported and click throughs and all that. At that point, then yes, if businesses are saying we get better response from posting on social media than from ads, then you are hurting their pocketbook by shutting down their account when they did not cause a problem. You know what? If Twitter is so good at moderating themselves and Facebook is so good in moderating themselves, then why couldn't they shut down the account of the people that were using it for quote unquote illegal activities? Why just take the whole platform out?
Well, I think that's the argument is there's a lot of terrible things that happen on these sites. And to me, it's not even a feel thing. They're picking and choosing what content is deemed appropriate
And-
on all things. So you've got good things and bad things.
Right.
They are picking and choosing what bad things stay and go. They're not getting rid of all the bad things, just the things that they determine are super bad or are really, really bad, but not all the bad things. Again, I'll use the example of Kathy Griffin holding up a bloody head of a sitting president. Like or hate that, I don't see how that doesn't violate Twitter's terms of service.
Right.
If you go look at Facebook's terms of, if I decapitated my neighbor and held their head up on Facebook, I would be, first of all, the FBI would be at my front
you don't
door.
have to decapitate
second
them.
of
All
all,
you have to do
second
is
of all,
make
second of all, I would be banned from Facebook or
Yeah.
Twitter
Yeah.
because that is 100% against their terms of service. It is inciting violence, which has been the claim that. Which, if you want to look at what happened a couple weeks ago, sure, make that claim, fine, that's fine. But then you can't pick and choose when you're inciting violence. If you had looked at Donald Trump's Twitter account over the last 4 years and look at the replies, it was account after account. I hope you die. I hope you're dead. You deserve to be killed. All of this thing, the most hateful, awful, vitriolic things for 4 years, and that never was on Twitter's radar of things to ban. I mean, literally up until last week.
And
so
that's
the frustrating part for me. It's just picking and choosing.
The French minister or whatever who came out against it also said it's not for social media to tell us what is free speech. It is for our regulators.
Well, I disagree with that. I think Twitter, I do believe truly that Twitter can do whatever they want. I don't think that they should be controlled. But if you're going to play this card that, oh, we're getting rid of hateful content off our website, I would just appreciate them. And as a cat is ripping my green screen down. You can see the fold now. There's a gap in my green screen.
It's all right.
Whoa, there we go. A little Wizard of Oz magic going on here. I truly do think that Twitter should be. There's no argument here. Twitter can do whatever they want. It's their own platform.
It's a private. Yeah.
Yes, but okay. I don't want to get crazy political into it. The whole point is, if they want to play the holier than thou, we're gonna get rid of these, these crazy fear-mongering, hate-mongering people off of our website. I would just appreciate if they did it across the board. That's all. I mean, that's all it is. It has nothing to do with conservatives versus liberals. If you're going to say we're getting rid of incitements of violence, if we're getting rid of incitements of hate, then just do it on both sides. That's all. And if you want to ban people off, the reason they won't do that is because everybody hates. That's all social media is arguments and bitching and complaining to other people and fighting. That's also, if Twitter deleted accounts that were combative on their platform, there'd be nobody left. Because that's all these social medias are. That's what conversations are. Look, how many threads scroll down of people saying, "Oh, Amnot, I love you. You're the best." No, it's Amnot. Fuck you.
Yeah.
That's the thread. That's always the thread.
And
so if you're gonna get rid of that content, there'll be nothing left.
And I don't know.
That's all.
I don't know if Parler did not have any moderation.
They did. Same thing with Gab. If you're posting child pornography, you're banned off the site. It's a felony. But if you're going to say, I don't like this certain group of people, that's not going to be moderated because they don't care and it's not illegal.
Right.
That was their point.
Okay. So let's talk about how they actually get focus on those locations that they need to take down. Right. So you're saying they are acting as self-moderators, right?
Which ones?
And here,
Parler?
No, and any platform.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And you're saying there's these atrocities happening all over, and you're not doing anything about them, right? So my point here is we are talking about technical deficiency of these companies, because they are only going to deal on what is on the heated discussion right now, because they do not actively go and seek any of this content, right? Neither the political speak, neither they did. I mean, the only thing they probably did, they flagged coronavirus and COVID as words to attach some notification next to them. Election speak, right? Election words to attach next to election content. And I'm guessing they flagged the word Trump and stuff like that after heated discussion in the past 4 years about that. And what happens is, when it comes to discussion within groups, you said child pornography and sex trafficking, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody outside of the rings of traffickers is seeking those conversations. And so nobody is reporting, right, that these nobody's flagging these as, hey, take a look here, hey, take a look here. But the moment something is in your face all the time, and that's what political discussion is all the time, right? There's always two party complaining about one another, and they're going inside the system. They're reacting in aggressive behavior system wise. That means they're reporting the other, targeting the one another, right? Now, you and I know it's not people that are clicking delete on these messages, right? I mean, not employees of Twitter or Facebook or whatever, unless they are part of the discussion. And that's the thing. You're going to always have this back and forth inside the systems, right? Of political discussion, trying to shut down the other using the system inherent rules. It's probably exactly like lawmakers, like lawyers using the loopholes in the law, right, to acquit their client. It's exactly the same thing. They're going to find how the system works, and they're going to find how to game the system. Now, when a Reddit or a YouTube or a Twitter or whatever, they find a large group that is being gaming their system in a way that they don't like, then yes, they're going to put their foot down on it. You mentioned Pornhub. When it affected the system in a meaningful way, they put their foot down on it.
Yeah.
Right now, the only thing that really cares about these companies is probably this left wing, right wing controversies, and yeah, we know where they stand. These most of these corporations, and that's why you're seeing it right now. I'm just saying, I don't. I it's like I don't feel any of this is meaningful. That's why I'm like appalled about this. It's always talking about, hey, they're taking my signs down, right? Instead of let's have a real discussion. And it's everywhere that way. It's not as if there was any real discussion in Parler or any real discussion in Twitter or any real discussion in Facebook about what's going on, right? It's mostly as let's talk about the platform that we want to discuss serious thing, but let's never discuss the serious thing. That's what annoys me as a person, right? That I mean, that's probably why I don't follow these channels, these news, this. I put myself out of it because all of this, it's always about the non-issue that is being I don't know, frowned upon, trying to be controlled and all that. I don't know. I've never felt there was a single um, serious discussion about anything. You wanna have a serious discussion, have learned people read material written by one another, right, and then have a discussion about it on a stage with people from both sides. You don't get that in social media. It doesn't really matter.
No.
It's either one side stepping into an arena controlled by the other side, or vice versa, right? It's never a clear discussion about ethics, about ideology, about thought. It's more about rage. If
Yeah, because that's
if
what
right
people,
now
because that's what
rage
you get
comes
in
from the right,
conversations
yeah,
over.
let's shut down the rage. I'm okay with that.
I'm not. Yeah, see, because yeah,
See,
I mean, because the
that's
last 4
that-
years the rage came, because the last 4 years the rage came from the other side and nothing was done. That's the troubling part to me. Again, holding up a bloody head of a president for 4 years, that rage
Yeah,
wasn't
come
ever
on,
censored.
Kathy Griffin. Who counts her? She's
It
not
doesn't
important,
matter.
not in the left and not in the right. She's nobody.
It
She
doesn't
tried to
matter.
get some attention, just as nobody.
No.
I don't care about her. The
Wait.
same way
Well,
I
okay,
don't care
okay,
about
but
any
just
other right wing
well,
person
yeah,
talking.
but you just said if the right is doing the rage, get rid of them. Okay, so then why? So
No,
why would
I'm
you not get rid
saying
of that?
most of the rage is happening right now in these
Okay,
right.
but yes, agreed. But when it was on the other foot, there was nothing done.
No,
That's the argument.
That's not the point at all, though. In my opinion, it's not whether Kathy Griffin is stupid and nobody pays attention to her. It's the fact that what she did is against the terms and conditions, and
Yeah,
nothing
still,
was
I don't care.
done
I don't know.
about it.
I don't care about Alex Jones being shut down the same way I don't care whether Kathy
I
Griffin
do.
is shut down or not. It's like I don't think it needs to be any part of any conversation. That's the thing.
Well, no, then you lose the whole point of having social media if you're just looking and saying, okay,
There
Alex
is no
Jones.
point in having social media. We've seen that. There is no point.
well,
in
I
having
agree.
social
See,
media.
there's something we can agree on. I
Not-
agree. It's
not
awful
the
and
way-
terrible and miserable.
Yeah, not the way that it is. No, there's place for social
There
media.
is no
but
way
not, this
other
is
than
not
the way
social
it's
media.
going to be. Amnon, we cannot change the nature of human gossip. Okay? That is never going to change. So you just fuel it with, I mean, every Gab or Parler or Twitter or Facebook, right? It doesn't really matter which one, they're all pouring in with hate, because one thing you do not have through these systems, right, is you do not have empathy. The moment you take out empathy, right, the moment you provide a platform with zero empathy, right, you're going to get rage. And that's the way human nature works.
okay.
We cannot tweak human nature.
Then look at it from the other side now. How come it's only good when it goes one way and it's not good when it goes the other way?
I do not agree it's always good that it goes one way. I think they're just, when it comes to rage, right? I think both parties are exactly
Let's not get into parties. Let's talk
No,
about
sides.
platforms.
I mean the
Platforms.
word parties as sides.
We're
Both
talking.
sides
We're
of the conversation, right? They're always against.
we're talking.
Everybody's against violence when
Absolute. Okay.
when you go and ask a question, right?
Yeah.
But most people under the radar, just mumbling underneath their nose, right? I hate that guy. I want to kill him. They always have at least one or two of these.
Let's
Give
here. I mean,
an
I don't want.
anonymous a place where you can speak your mind freely will always be festering with rage if you are not identified. I think we talked about it, right?
All right. Let's
Free speech works when you are identified.
Let's
All of
stop.
these places.
Let's stop trying to be correcting the world. Let me ask you. I mean, according to what you just said, let me ask you this: she is nobody, so why pay attention to her? Okay, so if you are, or let's say that the governor.
Let's
wait,
put it this
hold
way.
it, hold it, hold it. Let's say the governor is driving his own car and he's going through a red light or
Okay.
through a stop sign.
Yeah.
Is he going to get a citation? Yeah, he
Depends
will.
on the cop, probably. No,
He will.
No.
Now, wait a second. He will. If Amnon lives in
If
the
he's not
middle of
recognized, he
if
will.
Amnon, who's nobody, lives in the middle of nowhere, that there's no traffic at all, and I go through a stop sign, and a policeman sees me doing this, will the policeman give me a citation for going through a red stop sign?
Probably.
Yes, he will. If he doesn't, wait a second. If he doesn't, I could actually take him to court and say, look, he's not protecting the public. Now, my point here is that the law should apply to everybody the same way.
But there is no law.
Well, there is. There are terms and conditions.
Self-appointed regulations to protect the corporation, not to protect you in any way.
Well, but
I mean, we're giving ourselves completely free over here. This is not a paid platform. We didn't pay for terms of time.
Right. So
they change the term of service every Monday and Thursday.
Right.
It doesn't really matter, right?
That my point here.
That's if you want to discuss these platforms, that's the only thing you need to be discussing.
Well, no. So
remember, you're selling yourself to these platforms.
Right, and this is why I don't want to use these platforms anymore.
Don't use them.
Right, exactly.
I'm all for it. I don't use them as well.
And that's the whole point here is that, and you see it happening. People are leaving in droves, in millions, to move away. Are they moving to a better platform? Hopefully. Is that
the answer is no. Don't move
I don't know.
to another platform.
At this
Leave
point,
these platforms.
Wait, hold it. We have to assume that they are because these platforms are still up. That's why they are okay, because they're still up. If they weren't okay, they'll be deplatforms. We hope, going back to it should be applied to everybody the same way, to the corporations that are coming, whatever. People are going away. When did what's his name? Twitter, Dorsey went back and said, oh, we probably made a mistake. When did he do it? When he saw his stock going down 11%. That's the problem, is it hurts you in the pocketbook. Now you're trying to, but. No, but. So you made a mistake, learn from it, turn everything around, say, okay, yeah, we're going to open this, we're going to open that, we're going to reverse it. Sorry about what happened. He never said that. He just said, in hindsight, it was a mistake to do what we did. So, I mean, this is, again, like you're saying, it's a private company. Actually, it's a publicly, aren't they a public company?
Publicly traded. It does not make it a public one.
It is. No, it is. That's why they call it publicly traded. It's no longer.
publicly traded. That
Yeah.
that means something completely different. It just means they get money elsewhere. That's all.
Well, and like Mike was saying earlier, all these companies are using our money. The internet is owned sort of like by the country, by the people, by the airwaves are. It all belongs to us. Every one of us who pays taxes. So they should be able to be regulated, but they're not, and I'm glad they're not in a way. But the thing is that, yeah, you put your mouth where your money is. And that's the way to change those platforms to do what's right and not what they think is right. You can take a company that has 500 people and they decide that 70 million people are wrong. And that's why we're doing it. That's anarchism, isn't it? That's dictatorship.
Maybe
so
I
to
don't
speak.
know.
I mean, and I'm talking
I
here.
don't think 70 million people are targeted.
Well, I don't know. I'm talking
Okay.
about Parler that had millions of people. And here comes a company that has hardly 1,000 people. And a few of them decide, okay, yeah, we're going to kick them out. No, not with, and they obviously they can, and they did. And we'll see what will come out of it. But the point is here that we're using the internet, we want to enjoy it. And as long as I don't go on Twitter and say, I'm going to kill this, or you should go out and kill that, or poison this, or I'm not saying anything against their terms, and I'm using common sense. To say go and kill somebody is not against Twitter's terms and condition only. It's against the law. So that's what I'm talking about. That's why technically they can do anything they want, and they do. But because nobody's doing anything about it, they figured, oh, so we can do it. They did it to Alex Jones. Nobody really did anything.
I don't fully understand the against the law part.
Well, I mean,
I don't think there is any clear law. That's the real problem, right?
Well, no, I mean it's the same as it's against the law to shout fire in a movie theater. It's against the law. There are things. I mean, you cannot go out and threaten somebody with harm and not get arrested if they complain to the police. If you come and you tell me, look, you go
right, but Kathy Griffin doing that, posting that photo, the police didn't do anything about it either.
Nobody did anything because nobody complained about it to the point of the law. I mean, Kathy Griffin, in a way, it was even worse because it's like I already committed the crime. Here is, this is like in the dark ages. Bring me his head. Prove to me that you did it. And she say, here is his head. So that means like she's saying, I already killed him. It's a symbol, but it is very bad taste. And I'm sure it's against or let's put it this way. I'm sure it can be understood as against their terms and conditions. Because they can't come and put every little infraction into the term and condition. Lawyers.
That's a term I haven't heard in a while. Infraction. That's an old term.
Yeah, I mean it's better than some other harsh word. But the thing is, they have lawyers who come and write stuff that this will fall under this. Lawyers will decide that, not Dorsey. Not some little kids that are sitting there and saying, we should take that out. That's my point here. It's we need to enjoy this. We're paying money for the internet. Let me enjoy it. Now, if there's a place that I can vent and it doesn't hurt anybody, remember, if it doesn't hurt anybody, then it's better than me keeping it inside, and then I'll go out and hurt somebody. No, let people vent. You know what they do? So they shut it down, and now there's somebody who scrubbed Parlor apparently a few days before, and he said this, and they said this will be a trove of info for the investigation. What do you mean? Leave it up. Let the investigation come and get all the information that they need to see who did what, who said, okay, I'm going to go in and I'm going to break in. Because I'm still waiting to see somewhere where Trump told these people to go in and break in and do what they did, that incitement. Yeah, we talked about it yesterday.
I don't think anybody thinks that that
well, I
actually
mean,
happened.
that's
anywhere. It
well,
doesn't really matter.
So all this incitement can be understood as such by attorneys, and they say, yeah, here, this and this and this and this is against the law, or this is against our, no, fine. But don't just, I mean, if I am using Twitter and I did not say anything, but somebody in that, whatever they call committees that they have, decides, I don't like Amnon, I'm going to just delete his account. That should not happen. That's what I'm talking about here. It's all technical. It's all, it has to go by law. The fact that you are a private company cannot. I mean, if I have a store, which
there's
which
the argument.
I own it.
Exactly.
I own the store. I can't tell somebody don't come in just like that.
And that's the political argument that I think is rapidly falling apart. Is, for example, Amnon, I know you happen to be a Jewish individual.
Yeah.
So if I owned a store, I would say, actually, Amnon, not really a big fan of your people.
Right.
You can't come in my store. There would be, first of all, you would sue me,
Of
you would win, and I'd get shut down.
Right.
But if I owned a website and said, I don't want you on here because I don't like your people.
Right.
No problem.
And even though you pay for it and it's yours and all that, you can't. I mean, so you can't. It can't go both ways.
Well, that's the thing with the private company example that doesn't work, is you can't say I don't want certain people in my store because that's illegal.
Yeah. Well,
so,
anyway,
but hey, we're not gonna.
No, we're not. I mean, it's healthy conversation. It's good to get it out. That people know, people can participate, can talk about it. It's not hurting anybody. I don't think we said anything today that can hurt anybody.
I mean, I'm hurt. My feelings are hurt.
I don't know. Mike shut us down. So
yeah, man, we're getting canceled.
Mike is a very strong believer in what he believes, and that's fine. Now listen to this. Let's switch from it. After days of advanced talk to sell Quibi's content library to Roku, the companies have finally reached a deal. According to Deadline, Roku will acquire most of Quibi's content for less than $100 million. How much money did they put into it? Anybody knows? I mean,
which one's Quibi? Is Quibi the mobile app one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that cost $1 billion to set up, and died in 6 months.
Yeah. The acquisition.
Tell you what, man, this is the way to do it. Don't build your own platform. Just wait for some other stupid jackass to piss away $1 billion and then come in and buy it for
exactly
literally
what they
pennies
did,
on the dollar.
Yeah.
By the way, the most interesting part, I think, in this story is an Israeli company called Echo, EKO. And this is when Quibi just started. They sued Quibi for technology that they are developing. They've been developing for a while, and Echo has actually. If you guys don't know it, then just go there. It's a fantastic piece of software where they are making these interactive videos where you can affect the video as they progress. They're doing shows, they're doing music videos, and it was founded by an Israeli rock artist. And so Quibi is being battled. The corporation, the entity, is being battled on legal issues of their technology, which failed them completely, right? On one hand, and on the other, they're selling the content away. Yeah, you know how
Well,
things are done. Somebody's dead today. You go to the Wikipedia page and it says
was.
was
Yeah.
right 2 seconds after it was announced. So Quibi was
Yeah.
an
Now,
unimportant company in the history
the
of
acquisition
the
covers most of the Quibi library, but some daily news shows are not part of the package. A key draw for Roku is the talent, a roster including Idris Elba, Kevin Hart, Liam, all these names. The lineup includes titles like Most Dangerous Game, Dummy, and Murder House Flip. The programmer will be available for free starting later this year. Shows will have advertising, as they did
Yeah.
on the $5 a month Quibi service, and they will be housed on the Roku channel. Earlier last week, Roku says it sold more smart TVs in the US in 2020 than competitors like Samsung, LG, and Vizio, becoming the biggest smart TV platform in North America. So they're adding, I mean, it is just amazing how
They're
much.
in everything.
Huh?
I mean, if you go to like Walmart
Yeah.
and look at all the TVs that they offer, I would say, now obviously not the more expensive brands like Samsung and LG and Sony, those are different, but any of the budget brand televisions, all are Roku TVs.
Roku, yeah.
Westinghouse, Vizio, even Vizio, which is on the higher end of the lower scale televisions, have it. I mean, go there right now. Walk through the store. No, Vizio, Roku TV, Roku TV, Roku TV.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
they're
well,
kicking ass with it.
Vizio is selling Amazon-based TVs and Android-based TVs as well.
Yeah.
So they're selling everything. But the thing is, I think Roku is doing the best in being sold on these platforms. I agree.
And so, I mean, their interface is really out of. God, did you ever use Google TV or Android TV back in the day, like 2010?
I used, I used some Android boxes. I don't know if it was with Android TV or like a modified Android. I don't
those
really know.
interfaces were awful, like just terrible. And even now, you look at like what did Windows Media Center become? XBMC. Even that, the interface is just clunky and awful. And it's Roku and Amazon isn't bad, but Roku really separates itself with its UI. It's got the most streamlined, I think, user friendly, because that's what it is. You're dealing, Amnon, you talked about this a lot when you were trying to get switching off of cable.
Mhm.
It was a bit of a struggle with Kathy to get her in the the mindset of this is how you do this is how you do that. Roku has simplified that to a really, really good point.
And I was talking about it yesterday with Gal too. It's amazing. I was considering getting Sundance and something else. I can't remember what it was, because these were the shows that Kathy was watching, and ended up not getting any of them. And how long has it been now? 4 months, something like that. 5 months. Everything is great. I mean, she knows more about how to get around in Roku than I do, because I just look at the live TV. She gets in and out and recording and all. It's amazing, and no complaints whatsoever. Because what I start saying, it's amazing. It's just amazing how much free material is on Roku. It is unfreaking believable. There is no way, if you did not have anything, no live TV, no Netflix, no nothing, you could not watch what's on Roku probably in years. And they keep on adding. Now they're adding that Quibi.
Yeah, but there's no live sports, man.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, that's a big one. I know.
Yeah. It'll change. It'll change. And
Melvin says I had a
people are willing to pay for sports, so why should they do anything about it?
Melvin said I had a poor experience with Roku because it was slow and clunky, maybe because it was an older model, but the Apple TV Gen 1 is still much smoother. Yeah, Apple TV is kind of in a ballpark of its own. I will say this, because of to compare the Roku to the Apple TV is not necessarily fair. The Apple TV is expensive. It's like a $200 device. You can get a cheap Roku TV for like $25.
Right.
Like they're dirt cheap.
And those TVs have it built in.
Well, the TVs have it built in.
Yeah.
As well, but you can get the little
Right. Yeah.
HDMI plug-in thing for like $25 or $35, and on a holiday you can get it for even cheaper, I think.
Yeah.
I would not recommend buying one of those. If you're going to get a Roku, get the one that Amnon and I have, the Ultra. It's like $79 or $89. It's worth it. It's much snappier, and it is not.
The reason
that's the device you want. You will have a shitty experience if you buy the $35 Roku,
Yeah.
because it's not snappy, it's not fast, it's a cheap device.
the main thing I got that device is because it's the only one that they make that you can plug in Ethernet into. Video doesn't work that great on wireless for some reason.
Well,
And
I can tell you all of our TVs,
Yeah.
Except the main one, all of our TVs, they're Wi-Fi,
Mhm.
right? And no problem,
well,
high
maybe
resolution.
maybe it's because now you have good equipment.
We
for
need to
your
do a revamp.
Wi-Fi.
We should do that. We should do a series, Amnon. We should redo your Wi-Fi.
Yeah, no, leave it alone. I believe if it's not broken,
But it
Don't
is
fix
broken.
it.
You just
And
you
I-
said it was
broken.
broken.
I like
Having to run Ethernet
wire.
throughout your house.
I have it everywhere. It's more secure. And the only thing that's working on Wi-Fi are the phones.
The last time I was at Amnon's, I was in the bathroom using the bathroom, and I was trying to get some toilet paper, and there was Ethernet wrapped around the toilet paper. I was thinking, damn, this guy's got Ethernet everywhere. Because the Wi-Fi didn't work, I had my laptop on my lap. I had to plug it in via Ethernet. It was very he was very generous to have an Ethernet drop right there next to the bathroom. Appreciate that.
But it's just interesting to see how evolved these devices have come. I mean, it's gosh, I can't imagine. I can't believe that for years we paid so much money to Time Warner for TV. And it was, and I'll be the first one to admit it. It was because of laziness. Because I just did not want. No, it's working. Never mind. And again and again, I say thank you, God, because he talked me into it. And after seeing Nick using it and other people in our circle using it, I said, well, yeah, I'm going to use it.
It's complacency. And frankly,
It
the
is.
price wasn't so much that it was making you broke, so you were willing to pay for it.
Yeah,
for a
but I
period of
mean,
time.
it was $1,200 a year. Because
I understand, but that obviously wasn't enough. You weren't homeless at that price.
well, I understand, but the thing is, I'm thinking, boy, I could have do something with that money.
Agreed,
You know,
agreed. But I'm saying it's not.
fine.
If you were deciding
Amnon,
between,
you sound like those who quit cigarettes and say
Smoking.
they could have done
Yeah,
something.
right.
Nobody does anything with the extra
Yeah, yeah. Well,
$50 you get a
right.
month.
no, but that's the thing is, if you were having to choose between your Spectrum bill or dinner, it would be a different story. But obviously, the $1,200 wasn't, or was it? Obviously, it wasn't enough
right.
to make.
Obviously.
Yeah,
yeah.
And that's the case with most situations.
Thank God.
I mean,
thank God.
yeah. But I mean, if you had to, and that's what it is. It's complacency. See, Melvin says, my wife talked me into cable because she wanted to watch news and some sporting events. Now we pay an extra $120 a month. Yeah.
See, that's
How it works.
I got a bunch of friends last week asking me, what can they do to lower their cable bill, to get away with their cable bill And I'm quoting. I don't need much. I just need some NFL, some NBA, and some Fox News. It's like my question to them is: do you really need that? Start there. Start by disconnecting yourself from whatever as mandatory, and then you can start getting disconnected from it. But the moment you just mentioned those three, right? CNN or Fox News or whatever, it's like you're done for.
And
You're
let me
gonna
tell
need
you
to,
something. And I can't remember who said that this week, Nick or somebody else says, I'm not, you are much happier since you don't have those networks. And I am.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that was me.
I mean, we don't have CNN, we don't have any of these things. And it's so nice. But yeah, every now and then when somebody asks me a question about what's going on, and I said, what? I didn't hear about that. And
Yeah,
it's probably
that's great, no?
It's fine. It's fine.
And if it's important, you know about it in
Yes,
2 minutes.
because
right?
yeah,
It's
right,
like, come
right.
on.
If it's important, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, see, that's the big problem with cord cutting is God, there's a false reality of what it is. Cord cutting is changing the type of media. In some regard, is changing the kind of media you consume.
Mhm.
People are like, oh, I want to cut the cord, but I want to watch everything that's still on cable.
Yeah, right.
Well, then you don't want to cut the cord. Just stick with cable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like if you still want to watch cable news and Fox Sports 2, you can't.
right.
You have to change. And Amnon did. You change the way you consume content.
Right.
So cutting the cord worked. But you can't watch
Tell me.
all these channels and cut the cord. It just doesn't work.
Does Alec Jones sell streaming devices?
No.
No, but
Actually,
you
yes,
can
I
watch
think he
it.
does. He's on
That
shortwave.
sounds like-
He's on shortwave radio.
Well, shortwave, yeah, but I'm talking
I
about.
mean, he streams. He streams, and like
yeah, but is he selling technology to consume his streams? That's what.
Well, I guess so. He's got Band.video. That's his platform. Yeah. I don't know if there's a physical device.
Well, that's
for
a platform, yeah, but
you don't. But you don't
you
need.
get my question.
It's a.
I bet you he does. I'm going to check it out at InfoWarsStore.com.
The thing is that in the early days of the internet, they used to sell a diskette that had on it thousands of radio stations around the world. And when you look at the diskette, all it was links to different radio stations.
Went up with links, yeah.
So and when I sat down and I said, okay, I want to have an app for Computers 2K Now. The first person I talked with and I explained what I want, he said, you don't need that. A link, a shortcut is your app. I mean, all you have to do is give them a shortcut that they could copy onto their screen, and then they click on it, and that's it. And it's true. I mean, unless you are trying to get somebody to come and do buying and figuring out that you don't need. So it was right. What'd you find, Nick?
He does not sell one. He does sell food supplies, which I recently bought, and some radios. And of course, all of his other great products that you can buy.
Yep.
As he's got on the banner, turn back the globalist storm sale. Stock up and support the tip of the spear. I mean, I'm sold.
So
I need a small loan. I need to buy some stuff.
We were talking about put your money where your mouth is and hurting these people in their pocketbook. Listen to this now. WhatsApp said on Friday that it won't enforce the planned update to its data sharing policy until May 15th. Weeks after news about the new terms created confusion among its users, exposed the Facebook app to a potential lawsuit, triggered a national investigation, and drove tens of millions of its loyal fans to explore alternative messaging apps. So they also see, this is hurting us on the bottom line, our bottom line. No, let's reverse it. But this is until May 15th. So what's happening May 15th?
You just prolong the outrage. Nobody will care. Hopefully there'll be a new shiny object in May, and then nobody will care.
So it's that, but that's what happens. I mean, why did it take you a few weeks until you saw that millions of people are leaving?
No, but this is very important here. The fact that they have postponed it,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
means that people should still look for alternatives.
Absolutely.
Because right, it means that stepping away was meaningful in so many levels other than just what people saw in the change of terms of use, right?
Mhm.
So now remember, if you opted in, there is no opt out,
Right.
right? There is no opt out. The only so it's a delayed opt in. So if you're already in, you're already in. And
Yeah, but if you don't use it, it doesn't do them any good.
of course, I agree.
Other than
So that's the
saying we
thing.
have so many.
We need as consumers to understand exactly why we need to step out. And when we talk about alternatives, we also need to talk about what stands behind those alternatives, right? Why are we recommending stuff like Signal and Telegram, right? Why these and not others? Why not go, I don't know, to Samsung's chat application or whatever, right? It's because what stands behind it, right, is our interests, and that's what you need to look at. Okay, so it's not a point. I think what Facebook is hoping with this announcement is to calm down the beast, right, and say, hey, everything's gonna be all right, right? We're taking you seriously, but this should not stop the move away from the
Right.
platform.
Yeah,
That's very
because
important.
the platform is still the same.
The platform is still the same. It is with the same issues it had before, right? When it was sold to Facebook. So nothing has changed there. The fact is, Facebook, when it needs to do something that will require grabbing some attention because they need you to accept it, right? Um, they're going to do it again, and it's going to happen again, and you have no way
Melvin
of
is
stepping away from it
Melvin is
unless you
talking
stop using
about
the
the
system.
Oculus.
Yeah, Oculus was the same thing, but Oculus, uh, let's put it this way: Oculus is still building its community. It's not like Oculus is the de facto platform, the only one, right? It doesn't even compare in numbers, and there's the whole thing about purchasing content in Oculus that doesn't exist here in WhatsApp,
And
right? We never processed money through WhatsApp,
right.
anyone, right? So there isn't any WhatsApp as a free platform, free communication platform. Suddenly understanding that this platform needs to make money and its agenda needs to be aligned with Facebook, that's a problem, right?
Yeah.
And when we look at Signal, specifically a nonprofit, right, designed specifically as a nonprofit with a very clear mandate, all based on open source software, peer reviewed, right? You get a completely different culture around what that company stands for and around what the content around it stands for. And the moment something will change in the application, there's so many eyes on it at this point, right? So many people involved in it and so many eyes on it that even if they decide to do something different, right? They decide suddenly to shift, they decide to sell the company, then a fork will be created and people will follow the fork. But it this I think what we should learn from this experience is to keep our eyes open and continue and understand that the fate of our choices of choosing a platform, a free platform, right, is in our hands, and we need to understand what it means. And if it can't survive by just being free, right, like a nonprofit that will require donations, yes, let's donate and let's keep the thing that works for us, not for some big corporation, right? Working for us instead, vice versa. And so I think that's very important. That's we're talking about free speech. We're talking about, and this is a company that has free speech in its mind, right? It is all about not preserving any information about the person, not allowing any lawmakers to do whatever they want with what you want to do. They can't track who you are conversing with. They do not have a record for that. And the reason we know that, right, is we have the code of what they're running. Now, can we trust that that's what they're running? That's another part of the discussion. And I think they are the only company right now who is working on a way of the client side, the one running on your phone, the app, to identify that the service side is exactly the one that you're expecting. So that's not in place yet, but it's something they're working on, and it's very interesting. So it's like they're talking about, the idea is that whatever software is on your client will control whatever software is running on the server, right? It's not just having the server run a piece of software that is opaque to us. It's actually controlling what that server will do and how it will interact. And it's an interesting concept. It's something they're working on. They don't have any active prototype or anything like that.
No.
But that's on the plans, right? And the most important thing is, once we discover that that's not true, let's say a subpoena is managing to get more information than they ever claimed that they're collecting, then a fork will be created by some other organization that
will go
run
to them. Yeah.
software as it should. Yeah. So I think this is the openness, right? Being completely open about your motives and things is the best way to get privacy, right? It's like you need to be completely open in order for everybody that uses your system to be completely private. And that's interesting. That's a very interesting concept.
Now,
I think it goes against the grain completely when you're talking about pure capitalism and free markets, right? Because you're talking about donation-based organization. You're talking, there's something very sharing the wealth concept around it, but that's probably the only way free speech will actually work.
I want to go back to what Melvin was saying about the Oculus. Melvin, you're right. You have to have an account. I think where is not right in your statement is you're saying, so are you saying I have to have an account and be active? You don't have to be active.
You have to have an account, a Facebook account that you log into.
Yeah. So now that doesn't mean that you have to have. Let's say that you if you don't have a Facebook account, then get one and don't use it. Just use it for that.
Yeah, I have a Facebook account for my Oculus headset. It has 0 friends. It is private. Nobody can search for it. No, nothing. Right, and I did it only so I can buy application on the Oculus store.
Yeah, and you can, I guess, all these platforms, the way that you sign in or create an account is by your email,
email or phone.
But if you don't have a phone, if you don't want to use your cell phone, then you can.
Not that easy. Not that easy. So first of all, an Oculus account will be tied in one way or another to some sort of payment method, right?
Okay.
Credit card. So identity completely being anonymous is harder.
It's not anonymous. You give him your email.
Yeah,
I mean, what if I don't have a smartphone?
I mean, you can host you can have an email hosted outside of your regular, right, on a different server. So I can say that the only way I was able to do it is with when I tried registering from my PC for a new Facebook account without giving a phone number, that failed. I don't know why. right? But it always failed. It went through the registration process, and then it says your account is blocked, right? Before I even logged for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
That was really weird. And
And
the only way
did you give him a different email address than on your other account?
Of course,
Okay.
of course,
Okay.
yeah. And so that didn't fly. I tried doing that. I think it worked when I did it even when I used the Gmail account and a fresh new Gmail account, that didn't work unless I did the entire process on a phone.
Yeah, but then they have your phone number.
No, that phone did not have a SIM card, but they do have the IMEI of the phone, right?
And they
Because
can
they
see
read
that
it.
you're using the same one on another account.
So no, that phone isn't in use. It's not connected to anything. That phone is in use only to.
I understand. So are you saying that maybe it? I mean, if you're going and you try to open two accounts, a new account under the same name and phone number and all that, they will not allow you to have two accounts. I know that.
No, that's not it. It's like if you are trying to create an account that doesn't have any point of reference to anything that they can identify, it seems like they're saying no, at least from the US.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
Yeah. I mean, that was my experience. Like, again, I don't know if it's systematic or if it's something specific with my IP. I have no idea. Right? I just know that was my experience over here. I tried it on multiple PCs. It wasn't about a browser. It wasn't about, it was about the information I provided. It didn't fly with them.
Yeah, so anybody can do it on the phone by just pulling the SIM out and being on Wi-Fi.
Yeah, but it's still linked to the same IMEI. So I'm guessing that they harvest that piece of information.
Obviously not, because you said that it worked.
No, I'm talking about what they allow as a new account, right?
Yeah.
And the moment they harvest the IMEI, right, that means they're okay with identifying that it's running on a phone, and they can identify the phone somehow, the hardware of the phone.
Okay.
Right. That's my guess.
So you need a different phone.
I do not know.
So you need another. You need another phone. A separate
that's
phone.
if you wanna really keep everything from them. But
right, and I would.
You can use a burner app.
Yeah.
You don't need another phone. There's apps that you can pay for that give you a burner cell phone numbers. Now, obviously, all of it's tracked.
No, I didn't give a phone number.
No, but when you do it,
I just did it on a phone. I worked with an email. Yeah.
Yeah, then you're fine.
Yeah, so you can do it, Melvin, and you do not have to be active. I mean, I call active is posting and answering, and that's active. No, the account has to be active, as in you didn't close it or whatever, but you don't have to be active on it.
By the way, I think they're shooting themselves in the foot here.
Of course,
right?
They do,
because for example, let's say the Facebook account for Trump, right, was hooked up to an Oculus account as well, and he purchased a bunch of apps there, right? By blocking his account, that means that whatever he paid for is now out of his reach.
And that's a breach. That's
the first time that they are mixing, right? Paying through the account and licensing things, right? And identity. And I understand why they want it, because they are selling your identity. That's the way they make money, right? But the moment they make money from both ends, from the side of the account paying to them directly, and the data of the account being sold, right? I think they're going to have a hard time in separating this, because the moment it goes to court on a situation like this, right? And they say we blocked the account because of free speech or because of hate speech or whatever, right? Or because of something in Facebook. And and whoever will sue them will say, yeah, but I lost access to the goods that I purchased through you because of that, right? So what is more important, me buying? And they will say then let's split your identity from your purchases, right? Then everybody will want that.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be when that goes to court, it'll be a very interesting case that will shape, without their wanting it to, they'll shape its behavior, their behavior around it. So yeah, this change, this one step of change did not make any sense at all.
And now you know the rest of. So AT&T is killing off the online video service formerly known as DirecTV Now,
Ah, damn.
and introducing a no contract option for the newer online service that replaced it. AT&T unveiled DirecTV Now late 2016, the year after AT&T bought the DirecTV satellite company. Prices originally started at $35 a month, and it had signed up 1.8 million subscribers by the third quarter of 2018. But the customers quickly fled as AT&T repeatedly raised prices and cut down on the use of promotional deals, leaving the service with just 683,000. I mean, that's a
Ouch.
third. Yeah, that's a big chunk.
Well, that's what happens when you raise the price by $10 every other month.
So in 2019, they changed the name from DirecTV Now to AT&T TV Now, creating confusion among customers and its own employees because the company simultaneously unveiled another online streaming service called AT&T TV. So this is, it's like they're shooting for the waist. It's weird that a company like this would do things like that. But anyway, that's it. It was expensive, and it probably will be expensive.
And it's still expensive.
Yeah,
$70 a month,
dang.
$85 a month, $95 a month.
Yeah, well, that's
They keep changing the name, but keeping the shitty pricing. It's
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable thing to witness.
Yeah.
But again, let's be clear. You're not cutting the cord by canceling
No.
Spectrum and then buying this. It's the
Right.
same stuff.
Right.
We miss the like the whole point is being missed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I mean,
But that's only
the reason
because
the reason cable is expensive is because of all of the networks. They all need their ESPN charges almost $2.50 per subscriber to the cable system.
But Nick, there's no annual contracts.
Great. I won't ever subscribe. Fantastic.
yeah, just cancel it during the season.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what people are starting to do with Netflix because Netflix has lost so many. Netflix, I'll tell you what, they are in an interest. Thank God they've got some of their what's the word I'm looking for? Their exclusives, their their
own
first party
productions,
shows. Yes, their own productions. Because I mean, they are getting ripped to pieces by these other services. I mean, them losing The Office is a huge blow to them.
Well,
and yeah, they're getting ripped apart. But I mean, I don't know.
I think
You mean instead of getting I don't know 40 million users a month, they're only getting 39 millions a month? I don't think they're ripped apart.
Well, I mean that's
No, I mean in terms of their they're losing the ability to take popular shows because everybody else has got their own services. Eventually it'll only end up being their own stuff because I mean think about it at this point, CBS, NBC, ABC, and Disney all have their own streaming services. I mean, that they control a huge majority of the things people watch on Netflix. I'm not saying there's not content on Netflix. That's not what I'm saying at all.
No.
But the popular shows that keep people, like again, The Office, the shows that people just watch and repeat all the time, shows like Seinfeld, with those being unable to be on the service, that's eventually there's going to be nothing left except for which they've got their own good shows. That's fine.
the
But
thing
eventually
is,
those contracts will run out and they won't be renewed.
the thing is, Gal, let's go back to what you
Mhm.
just said. What did you last say? What you mean they have
What?
39
that,
instead
that,
of 40?
that they're Yeah, that
Wait a
they're
second now.
growing slower than but they're
Wait,
still growing.
wait. No, if they lose 1 million out of 40, they have 39. Yeah, that
No,
doesn't
they're
sound.
not losing 1 million. No, what I said is they didn't get 40 million new subscribers. Instead of
Oh,
40 million new subscribers, they got
okay.
39 million new
Well,
subscribers. Big deal, right? They're
it's
still growing. That's the thing.
I
Is slowing down a meaning that they are going bust? That's what I'm saying. This is analyst speak. This is Wall Street speak. Their growth isn't as high as it used to be. So
well,
what? Sorry,
I mean,
but yeah,
companies, public companies that are listed on the stock exchange, if they don't meet what they say that they will be, they lose a lot of value.
Nothing in those headlines is ever talking about what was expected by the company, what the company itself reported. It's always about what analysts put the expectations on.
Well, one way or another, they lose value if they don't meet it. And yeah, unless you have stock in Netflix, then you don't hear about it. But the point is that I think the more and more people will cut the cord, truly cut the cord, the more and more advocates of cutting the cord will be out there who can explain to other people what does it mean. Because a lot of people out there hear the phrase cut the cord. They don't really mean it. I mean, hear me, a technical person. I did not exactly understand what it means.
Nobody understand. I don't think any of the statistics about cord cutters, right, that the media shows is accurate because nobody defines what a cord cutter is.
Oh, and again, that's true. And the only thing we can do about it is tell people how they can save money. Never mind how many people cut the cord. I want to help you because I want you to see how I saved $100 a month, how I saved $80 a month, how I saved $120 a month. That's what I'm trying to explain to people who are talking about cutting the cord. And remember, cutting the cord doesn't, I mean, you still have to have internet. So you
What?
Still,
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so
wait,
you still have a cord.
Wait, hold on. When I cut the cord, when I cut the cord, I went outside with a pair of hedge trimmers. I cut that bitch right in half.
Yep.
Wow.
And then you needed to wait for a week for them to come back and
yeah. Then I had to wait for AT&T to tell me that it was my issue. Submit a thing to their attorneys. Right. Yeah.
So we'll keep on doing it, and if you have questions about cutting the cord, we have experts here.
Do you guys remember sometimes 2010, 2012 maybe? There was a story about an Ukraine woman. I think she was like 70 years old, that was harvesting copper to sell, and she dug out like the main internet cable. Do you remember that story?
No, but that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Nick just triggered this memory.
Man, that's a bunch of copper.
Yeah. She didn't understand exactly what the problem was when they came and investigated. Yeah.
All right, here's something else here. Mozilla developers plan to remove support for using the backspace key as a back button inside Firefox. The change is currently active in the Firefox Nightly version and is expected to go live in Firefox 86. The removal of the backspace key as a navigational element didn't come out of the blue. It was first proposed back in July 2014 in a bug report opened on Mozilla's bug tracker. At the time, Mozilla engineers argue that many users who press the backspace key don't always mean to navigate to the previous page. I mean, if I click the back, I want to go back to where I was, which is the previous page, right? What else would you press the backspace? I don't know. So they're going to eliminate that. finally they decided to. You know, they have to show that they're doing something, right? Um, you guys
I
have
don't get
anything else?
why
Let's
why
see.
it's a problem.
Here is for Apple user, Mac app.
Yeah, neither do I.
Well,
That to me seemed like a very interesting thing.
for more than 5 years, Mac OS users have been the targets of a sneaky malware operation that used a clever trick to avoid detection and hijack the hardware resources of infected users to mine cryptocurrency behind their backs. Named OSA Miner, the malware has been distributed in the wild since at least 2015, disguised in pirated, cracked games and software such as League of Legends and Microsoft Office for Mac, security firm SentinelOne said in a report. But the crypto miner did not go entirely unnoticed. SentinelOne says that two Chinese security firms spotted and analyzed old versions of the OSA miner in August and September of 2018, but their reports only scratched the surface of what OSA miner was capable of. So I mean I'm reading the report. There was nothing to tell you how it can be fixed, what you should do or what you shouldn't do, but it was running for years and nobody even knew that it was running. I guess the only way that you can tell is if you see that your uh, maybe your electric bill went up, maybe your uh, bandwidth. It's something that is hard to tell. So just think about these things as Nick walks away to talk with that guy over there about the server. It's yep, that's Apple, Mac OS. And I I I don't exactly understand this. A coalition of public interest advocates is asking US regulators to investigate whether Amazon.com violates consumer protection laws with its process for canceling Prime subscription. It says in a letter to the Federal Trade Commission on Thursday, a group led by Public Citizen said the steps required to cancel Prime are designed to unfairly and deceptively undermine the will of the customer and may violate both FTC rule as well as other consumer protection laws. The letter draws on a complaint by Norway Consumer Protection Agency, which on Thursday asked Norwegian regulators to determine whether Amazon violates local law. I thought all you have to do is just go in and cancel an account. Apparently, the rest of the article was going about how hard it is to cancel a Prime account. The other way is, hey, delete all your payment methods from your account. What are they going to do? It's going to be canceled. Just remove all the credit cards. So I don't understand what's the unless they're just going for principle. Why are you making it hard for people to cancel?
Oh my god! Have you ever tried to cancel a subscription service? They're
Yeah.
all a pain in the ass to cancel. I mean,
So it's just interesting that you have to go through all this in order to cancel an account, but to start an investigation, spend public money, you know. And the last thing I have here is it's sort of good news. The PC was supposed to die 10 years ago, but it's just experienced its first big growth in a decade.
yep.
Market research firm Canalys reported that PC shipment reached 297 million units in 2020, up an impressive 11% from 2019. IDC puts the year at 302 million shipments. up 13.1% over year. Gartner also agrees that 2020 was a big year for PCs and the biggest growth we've seen since 2010. PC shipments are up thanks to demand related to the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. Supply constraints made it difficult to buy a new laptop halfway through the year, and demand continued throughout 2020. Demand is pushing the PC market forward, and all signs indicates this surge still has a way to go. While home working and remote learning has been big has have been big drivers, people are also turning to PCs and laptops for entertainment. So that's interesting. Everybody, oh, laptop, 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 laptop. Well, PCs are there too, which is nice. Yeah. I mean, why did you say yes, Nick? Do you guys see it in the
Yeah, well, I think a
customers?
lot. Oh, well, I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about from a gaming
Oh,
standpoint. I think that it doesn't explicitly break down the purchases of the computers, but I have a strong suspicion that due to the price and lack of availability of current generation consoles, that the gaming industry had something to do with that. I don't know how big of an impact or how little of an impact, but definitely an impact one way or the other.
yeah. I mean, ever since the very beginning of computing, when gaming, when games started, well, it started with games. We always said that the gamers are the ones that are dictating how computers are going to progress because the gamers need the higher speed CPU and the higher, whatever you want to call it, more memory, more this, more that. It's not the home user or office user, I should say, that needs that. It's the
Well,
gamers that are dictating.
I think that used to be the case, but the problem you've got now is developers
Mhm.
are are not okay. Let me start this over. Um, Developers are not doing a good job programming anymore because there are so many resources available that now running apps like even Zoom or Chrome on a computer that doesn't have at least 8 gigabytes of RAM is damn near impossible. So yes, we've come around. It's the speeds are better, but the programmers have become lazier because the resources aren't
Yeah,
anywhere near as restrictive as they were
right.
back 20 years ago when you really had to make sure that there wasn't a bunch of spaghetti code
Yeah,
and really make sure that your for loops and your recursions and these different operators were really, really concise and there wasn't a lot of waste and overhead. I mean, you got to pull up Task Manager right now. I mean, some of these apps are just now, I've
bloated.
got a yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, Microsoft Teams is using 400 megabytes of RAM. I don't even. It's closed. It's sitting in the taskbar. It's using almost half a gigabyte of RAM. It's just
Yeah,
sitting there. It's I'm not in a call. It's just sitting there.
yeah, because they can.
Yeah, because the resources are there.
Yeah, sure.
But it's not just Teams. I mean, I look at Skype is using 300 megabytes. Again, same thing. It's just sitting there.
Mhm.
Signal, Discord, vMix, which I'm using for the video, is only using 108 megabytes of RAM. So yeah, I mean, it's just there's there's no reason to there's no incentive to write a slick
Right.
program that doesn't use a lot of resources because it's a waste of time, frankly.
Yeah,
But then when you start running all these resources on cheap computers or all these programs, you are very quickly out
yeah,
of
it won't
resources
work.
and your
For
computer
sure.
doesn't work.
Yep,
So it's
absolutely.
it's a double-edged sword, unfortunately.
All right. Anything else? No?
Nope.
Nothing? Not a
Nope.
thing? All right. What's going on in the chat? Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, let's end it then. We actually went 2 hours today. So thanks, Nick. Thanks, Gal. And good morning to Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Dana, Dina, Arlit, Michael, and Eleanor. Thank you, everybody, for turning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And tonight at 7, Nick does his Against the Norm show at atnshow.com. If you're in Wilmington, you can listen to it on 106.7 FM, Wilmington Big Talker. Tuesday, Nick does his Infection podcast with Brian. And that's a gaming survival game, but they talk about all kind of games on it.
Yeah, and politics sometimes too now.
Yep. 7 o'clock on Twitch. So you go to twitch.tv/Infection Podcast. One word, Infection Podcast. And we'll see you next week. Have a great week, guys.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.